Good evening, everybody, and the audience is here. Tonight's the Monday, April 17, 2023 Finance Committee meeting. And for anybody who's on television to look at the City Council meeting tonight, this will take about 45 minutes, we think. So please stay with us, but if you want to just join when the City Council begins, that'll be in about 45 minutes, we think. So, Director Holland, would you take the roll?
Certainly, Mayor Pantaleon.
Here.
Chairman Morris.
Here.
Alderman Novit. Here. Alderman Rummel.
Here.
Alderman Notes.
Here.
Alderman Preschlack.
Here.
Alderman Gushgarian.
Here.
Alderman Weber.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda are the consideration of minutes from the Finance Committee meeting held on March 13, 2023. Any questions, comments, editorial issues from the members?
No.
If not, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, Director.
Mayor Pantaleon.
Aye.
Chairman Morris.
Aye.
Alderman Novit.
Aye.
Alderman Rummel.
Aye.
Alderman Notes.
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack.
Aye.
Alderman Gushgarian.
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
0 approved unanimously.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is our 2024 budget. Before we start on that, I think everybody knows that we went out for a bond issue, but the Moody's opinion for the bond issue was a AAA bond rating. And I thought it was worth reading some of the comments from their opinion letter when they said that, and let me just read this, the city's financial position is exceptional across its government and business type activities. Leverage is moderate and adjusted fixed costs are low. They want to say the outlook also reflects our view that the long-term liabilities will remain moderate but not materially grow because of strong pension contribution practices. So that was quite a statement from Moody's about our community. And again, before we start, the bond issue was sold today, so I've asked Director Holub to just make some comments about the success of the bond issue today.
Certainly, we'll be doing a formal presentation at the City Council meeting immediately following your committee meeting, but there was very significant interest in the city's bond sale this morning. We had 9 separate bidders, and during the 15 to 20-minute online auction, there was a total of 54 bids submitted. So bidders were continually rebidding to try to get the bonds. And so that says a lot for the city. Dan Forbes from Spear Financial will be here for the City Council meeting and noted that there was significant more interest in this issue than he's seen in several bond issues of note. So very, very good turnout. Of course, that means you got very good market rates on your interest. Ended up with a 2.73 true interest cost on the issue. We'll dive into that a little bit more during the City Council meeting, but overall, just very, very excellent results on the sale this morning. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was terrific work.
Can I make a very quick comment? I couldn't help myself, so I went out and looked to see what the 10-year U.S. Treasury rate is today. Excuse me. It's 3.61%, so we're almost a whole percentage point cheaper than the U.S. government can borrow on a 10-year basis.
Yep. And thanks for the finance team that pulls that all together. So I'll let you go forward with the budget for next year.
Thank you very much, Chairman Morris. So this evening, we reached the end of about 7 to 8 months of activity in developing the fiscal year 24 budget. As you know, it's a full comprehensive fiscal plan that is before you this evening for approval with a lot more than just the annual budget. We'll have a formal presentation as part of the City Council meeting, but I did just want to have this item on your agenda if there were any last minute questions or anything that you wanted to discuss related to the plan for fiscal year 24. I did include in your write-up the significant changes that have been made since the March Finance Committee meeting and discussion, most of that related to the personnel items that you reviewed in executive session in March that are now incorporated into the proposed budget for your review and approval this evening.
Okay. Any comments beyond that? No? So, I think that we're gonna, have a discussion if anybody has questions for the director. No, no questions? Well, then I think we can entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Seconded.
Need a roll call vote, Director?
Thank you, Mayor Panelian,
Aye.
Chairman Morris,
Aye?
Alderman Novit, Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
Approved with a vote of 8-0.
Very good. Well, thank you. That's terrific. The next item is supplemental appropriation ordinances for 2023. So Director Hunt, continue on.
Thank you, Chairman Morris. So by way of introduction, tonight you'll be reviewing and approving a comprehensive fiscal plan for fiscal year 24. But under the city's code and charter, the annual appropriation ordinance that you'll approve in July is the actual legal mechanism for approving the appropriation and expenditure of public funds. So as you know, throughout the course of the year, you may consider approval of items that were not specifically approved in the budget, and we provide a reference that you may consider a supplemental appropriation at the end of the year. So as part of the budget development process, we ask all departments to prepare year-end estimates so that finance is able to compare where we think actual expenditures are going to come in compared to budget. And then we're able to check that against the approved appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 23. So based on the current estimates for fiscal year 23, there is only one fund that requires a supplemental appropriation. It's the Liability Insurance Fund, and that's the fund that relates to the city's membership in the Intergovernmental Risk Management Association. That's a government cooperative with a number of members for the city's liability, property, auto, and workers' compensation insurance. That annual contribution is revenue-based, and so it's difficult to predict from year to year. And so we did have a member due for calendar year 2023 of $1,090,947 compared to a budget of $950,000. So that does tip you a little bit over your appropriation ordinance for that fund. Therefore, we're presenting for Finance Committee consideration and City Council approval this evening a supplemental appropriation ordinance increasing the appropriation for the Liability Insurance Fund by $150,000. Happy to entertain any questions.
Questions from the members? And if not, motion to approve the supplemental, let me read it, supplemental appropriation ordinance for 23. All those in, oh, we have to have a vote. So another roll call, Director.
Yep. Mayor Panelian,
Aye.
Chairman Morris,
Aye?
Alderman Novit,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
Approved unanimously, vote of 8-0. Thank you.
Very good. The next item on our agenda is a kind of an administrative item, termination of special service areas 25 and 26 and declaration of surplus. Director?
Thank you, Chairman Morris. Special service areas are funding mechanisms whereby improvements specific to an area of the city can be approved, and then the cost of those are allocated to the benefiting property owners over time. So we do have both Special Service Area 25 and Special Service Area 26 terminating this year in fiscal year 23. The last property taxes have been assessed, and the last debt service on those loans have been paid, effectively closing out the financing of those improvements. So we have included in your packet proposed ordinances terminating both Special Service Area 25 and Special Service Area 26. But we do have the issue of a small amount of dollars in both of those funds, and those can then be rebated back to the impacted property owners based on the pro rata portion of their assessed valuation compared to the total. So we have a little over $20,000 left over in Special Service Area 25 and about $8,700 available in Special Service Area 26. So with the Finance Committee's approval this evening, we would include these ordinances on your May 1st City Council agenda for approval. And then once those are approved, the city is responsible for rebating those amounts back to the impacted property owners. Happy to answer any questions.
Notes?
I do have a question. Thank you, Elizabeth. When an SSA terminates, and the city then, I assume, takes responsibility for 100% of the maintenance costs of that SSA, that the homeowners are not, there's no ongoing responsibility they have for that maintenance?
Excellent question, Alderman Notes. The city actually took control of those assets when the improvements were completed. So the city has been responsible for maintenance throughout the time period. This is just a long-term mechanism to allow those property owners to pay the cost associated with it. Thank you.
Any question, Alderman Rommel?
I'm just curious, how many homes were in these two SSAs? Since none of us were around when this was created.
Oh, I wish I had the special assessment roll. 25 has a pretty long list. Uniquely to 25, the Knollwood Club funded about a third of that.
I'm in 25, so I can.
So the Knollwood Club will receive about a third of the rebate that goes back. And then the Special Service Area 26 is a smaller group. I would say 15 to 20 properties associated with Special Service Area 26.
I think there's 20, so 20 single-family homes in the Knollwood Country Club. And do I need to recuse myself because I'm benefiting from a possible rebate as an SSA 25 member?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
It's because it's a general benefit for all of the property owners in the SSA. It's not a direct solely to you.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. All right, a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Another roll call vote, Director?
All right, thank you, Mayor Panelian.
Aye?
Chairman Morris,
Aye?
Alderman Novit,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Goshgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
Motion approved, 8-0. And those again will be on your May 1st City Council agenda.
Very good. So now we move on to the flash report redesign. As everybody knows, each meeting we have a flash report of what's going on in the city finances, and it hasn't gotten a lot of attention over the years. So the finance team has gone to work at trying to make it more relevant and easy to read. So I think there's a presentation that goes with this.
There is. Thank you very much, Alderman Morris, Chairman Morris. We talked about this at your January meeting with some proposed recommendations from the Finance Department on how to retool and redesign this flash report using the OpenGov story technology that we have used for both the popular annual financial report and the budget in brief. I'm very pleased to introduce to you Mark Kragera, staff accountant with the Finance Department. Mark has really been the OpenGov story guru. He's been doing a lot of the work behind the scenes to develop these stories. So we thought it would be a great opportunity for him to make his first presentation before you. I've assured him you are a very supportive and friendly audience. And I will turn it over to Mark to walk you through the new redesigned flash report.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good evening, Chairman Morris and committee members. It is an honor to be here to present the Flash Report redesign. As Finance Director Elizabeth Holmes summarized and brought to you guys in January, I quickly brought up the current Flash Report design because our focus was to take this long narrative-natured and old report and update it to a more user-friendly and interactive report. And we did that utilizing our OpenGov software. So I'm excited to show you this evening the new report. Right. So before we get into kind of the whole meat and information within the report, I kind of wanted to point out that we were able to kind of utilize what was called JavaScript, which is a web-based programming with this flash report. So it was kind of fun to get the IT brain flowing, so to speak. And with that, as you can see, this top heading follows you throughout the report. So as you're scrolling down, it'll keep with that. But it also gives you links to quickly navigate between, if somebody was to look for the real estate transfer tax section, it can populate immediately. I kind of jump back and forth like that. Another really neat feature that the JavaScript allowed us was to utilize the Google Translate. And with that, the language filter kind of allows more of inclusion and understanding for not just English, but I can show you Spanish speaking and it populates, auto translates, and it kind of gives even the reports itself Spanish. So I thought that was a really neat feature that the new JavaScript allowed, and we're really excited to use it. All right. So to kind of get into the overall viewpoint, the Flash Report, again, the goal is to show a monthly summary of key financial indicators intended to track the city's actual revenues and expenses compared to the adopted budget. And while this is not a comprehensive financial summary, I believe that the report succeeds at highlighting specific funds and revenues to ensure any variance that might impact overall financial conditions are identified. So to get started, the first section is our citywide overview. This section is actually brand new to the redesign of the Flash Report. We felt like it was a great starting point for the users of the Flash Report to get a broad snapshot of the city's revenues over expenses while highlighting the budget projections for the entire fiscal year. That is all housed and will be updated in the text section here. But the really neat part about the OpenGov story is that this is a live field of the report that is imported into OpenGov. So a user could actually drill down for, say, if they're more interested in the revenue side, they can actually click, drill down to more information. If they're looking at, say, property taxes and other taxes, continue to go down to see what are those other taxes. And it's kind of a neat way to give more substance to the actual information provided in the story. Then for our next section, we did the fund summary section. So with this, with the redesign, we decided to scale down and highlight 8 funds that comprise 86% of the city's budget. For each of these funds, you'll see in the graphic below a percentage representing the budgeted revenue or expense that has been received or occurred as the reporting date. The graphic also allows the users to compare that current period percentage with a 3-year average, giving a benchmark to help see how the current year is trending based on historical data. And lastly, the graphic breaks down these funds into kind of a green, yellow, and red status. The green means good, yellow is kind of we're watching out and we're monitoring it, and red, we are aware and know what the causes are. For example, for this Flash Report, we highlighted in the red the fire and police pension funds, which we stated below is revenue is down significantly this year due to investment losses. So it kind of gives another additional information and well, eye-catching. So our next section is the key revenues. So this was a fun section to tackle with the redesign because we wanted to kind of update it to a more, again, user-friendly interface. So the section, while in the beginning it does highlight that property taxes still account for the greatest revenue source for the city's budget, they're highly reliable with a 99% collection rate. So there is no budget variance, and we don't have that tracked on this graphic and section. Instead, we use the following data to show a positive number being a favorable budget variance, which indicates that revenues have exceeded budget projections for the year, and a negative number indicates that revenues are falling short. Another cool thing that the OpenGov provides is that this is, again, interactive data, which can be drilled down. A user can go back, and for example, I thought that caught my eye the first time I looked at this was that water was trending down negatively. So a user could drill down into that to kind of give a better picture to why, when, and how that was going on. Additionally, just a note from the redesign, the past Flash Report only showed the month reporting data. This kind of gives you a broad picture with the fiscal year to date. So again, it gives you a lot more of a better picture. The next section we go to is our real estate transfer tax. So this graph should look familiar to everyone. It was in the original Flash Report, and we decided it was great. The information was real clear, giving a 5-year fiscal year trend, and allowing us to see where we kind of stand up to that. With the new flash report redesign, we gave additional 2 graphs. It's jumping on me. So the chart on our left represents the commercial real estate transfer tax revenue. This is notoriously challenging to predict, yet provides a significant revenue source. So the graph gives us a nice 5-year budget to actual with budgeted targeted line showing the readers that of the $100,000 annual revenue. So as you can see here, there is the 5-year trend with that line indicating that for this year right now, we're still coming in a little shallow from that budgeted trend. And the cool thing about the reporting is if we do hit over that, this will say we're on target. And now to the graphic to our right. This section, this graph is the average sales prices for residential transfers. We note that the sales reflect only the transfers in the reporting period and not intended to indicate overall value. We know that this was a popular report to include for the real estate transfer tax because it kind of shows that historical trend, especially with the fiscal year 07, 08, with the housing market crash and kind of where we've, dipped down and come back up. All right, and in our last section is the interest income section. So this section highlights the city's types of investments based on the statute and state statute. We're limited to a certain number of investments. Those are investments, loans approved by the city council, and tax incremental financing. The graphic allows users to get a better feel for what those kinds of investments, interest incomes dictate. So it kind of, again, gives you a fresh feel for how the overall breakdown is. And sorry, I lost my place. So again, yeah, the graphic is just another great addition that OpenGov brings to kind of give the breakdown between those 3 types of interests. And to confirm, the Finance Committee will still be sent the quarterly investment report as they are now. But when we go live, we'll actually be able to link that within the report to give another accessibility to that investment report. So that brings it to the end of the flash report redesign. I know we have a tentative plan right now for in May. We would publish April's to give a full fiscal year overview of the flash report, and that it will be on the website. And I know we would in works with IT to kind of have that all transitioned, and then also add it to our app, the Lake Forest app, so that it'll be all on the transparency portal website for everybody, all the users to be able to find it. So
I just want to point out the reason we're able to do that is the finance team completely replaced our financial systems a couple years ago. And the software that they used in place of the old software brought this capability with it. And then the finance team has gone on then to take that and link it to the website so that people can do this drill down on their own on the website. And then in turn, that enables us to do this sort of stuff. So it's a long time coming with all the infrastructure changes, but it's certainly paying off. So, but questions from the committee? Alderman?
I had one question. Mark, congratulations. It's really exciting what you've put together here with your team. Could you go back to the fund summaries
yes.
page for just a second? I was curious. I understand the color coding, but is there a key somewhere on here so someone can identify what those colors mean?
Currently that is not a key, but that could be a good addition to kind of give it more of
maybe just a line item or something, or a little key off to the side that just explains green, yellow, red, and just spells that out, because we understand it, but for people just coming on board, that would help. That
Definitely.
Like red, we're aware.
Yeah,
it's not red flag, but we're aware of it.
Exactly. No, that's a good.
Right. Thank you.
Questions, Alderman?
I have a similar question about a slide where you're showing the average sale price. When I see that, and we get it, we've been getting it on our flash reports, I always wonder if it can be and is skewed because of some one-time major sale. And so I'm wondering if that's the case, that could be noted somewhere on the report, because, you know, you can have, I mean, we have $20 million homes here, and it would seem to me that that could really skew the average sale price and make us all think that our homes are
Doing much better.
doing better than they in fact are. So
Yeah.
I would just suggest that there be a note made in those years that there were an unusual number of very high value homes sold, or we sold a, you know, whatever, a big office building down in Conway, or whatever it might be.
Got
Would be a suggestion.
That's something that's been in the text of the existing flash report, so.
Very good. That's
That's
yours?
helpful.
They also pull out the outliers frequently. Like, I think there was a $13 million residential sale that you've excluded from the numbers because it would do just what you're
Right,
talking
just
about. So-
say that,
yeah,
yeah, you know,
Which-
that
yeah.
is what you're
Noting
doing.
that would be helpful.
Definitely.
Very good. All right, well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you again.
Well done. Good job. Thanks. Very good. That brings us to the next item, which is special event funding requests from the Friends of the Lake Forest Parks and Recreation. And you read the agenda, but I just want to point out that in our previous meeting, we talked about when we were considering how much to fund to the foundation, we talked about going back with Rick Amos, who's here in the audience, to do a kind of a deeper dive on the budget, understand what was included, kind of the scale that they were projecting for their new events, as we were concerned that maybe we were being too expansive in the planning. But I think we found when we sat down with Rick that it was well budgeted, detailed budget. We felt comfortable with the assumptions and estimates that they put together. And we also talked about should there be fundraising to accompany the offer of funds, that Rick was going to make a big effort with the committee to emphasize private fundraising in addition to the public fundraising that's going on. So we're looking forward to that further commitment to raising funds on their own. And then we also talked about if there were profits from the events, that it would probably be appropriate either to reinvest those profits in reserves for future events, or contribute that excess, those profits to community projects such as the beach stairway, for instance. And Rick, I think, was going to consider that. So we'll be monitoring the events. We'll meet with them periodically to look at the performance and expenditures to see how those stack up with the budget. I know, City Manager, wish any comments from your?
No, I think that pretty well summarizes it, Chairman Morris. And again, I think we have a level of confidence that being able to view budgets in advance and then track performance after the events have taken place can allow us to have comfort that, again, that the events are either meeting their targets and are proving successful, or will necessitate some different conversations about the direction of having those events in the future and how to alter and change course if need be. But the one thing that I would emphasize that I think you noted was, in addition to the special events, and I appreciate, Rick, he's here, acknowledging that, the profit margins anticipated through these events in and of themselves are not likely sufficient to be able to raise enough revenue for meaningful capital investments in the future. So seeing them supplement those efforts with additional outside fundraising campaigns, and again, we talked about the prominent role they're going to play in helping raise funds for the boardwalk. I think that's really important for the city to see, and credit to the Friends Foundation that they're really stepping up in their willingness to do that. So we'll certainly know more come fall, but I think we have the right sort of structure in place to monitor this and make make sure everything is going according to plan.
Questions from the committee?
I have one.
Alderman?
So as I understand this, they're asking us to give them $100,000.
Correct.
In anticipation of these 3 events.
Correct.
Is this gonna be an annual request, or are we gonna reevaluate the
No, it's a-
validity of each of these events
Yeah,
at the
it's-
end of the summer?
The plan is to continue to monitor, and Rick's agreed that they would come back after the events and show us the results, the detailed results
Okay.
of the event. And then we can update any budgetary information at that time.
Okay.
And that would be an ongoing process, year in and year
Okay.
out, given the scale of the events and the amount of funding that they're asking for from the public.
Okay.
And I'll just add to that, in years past, when there was a lower or more predictable amount of funding that was requested, the city had entertained multi-year agreements with the Friends Foundation. Because this is a larger amount, staff is requesting that this be done on a 1-year basis. As Chairman Morris said, we'll come back in the fall, track performance based on initial projections, and then kind of reevaluate as we go into next year.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
Roll call vote?
Mayor Petlian,
Aye.
Chairman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Novit,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack, Alderman Goshgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
Thank you. Approved 8-0. And again, this will be on your May 1st City Council agenda.
Very good, thank you. That brings us down to the end. Other business, there's attachments that were provided. The March 2023 flash report, investment policy review document, which is always good things to read, and the purchasing policy review. Any questions, comments, observations from any of those? If not, all right, well, thank you very much. Which brings us to the opportunity for any public discussion, public questions from members of the community. I don't see any. All right, well, that brings us to the end. So before we adjourn, I have a few comments. As you know, this is my last Finance Committee meeting, as my term of 6 years as alderman comes to a conclusion. So I just wanted to thank the city manager and Director Hallam for their support to the committee over these past 6 years. I would say that the finance team has provided extraordinary support to the committee. And I have a couple examples, but you may be aware of the Triple Crown Award that the Government Finance Officers Association just gave to our finance team. And it relates to, first, a Distinguished Budget Presentation Award that we typically receive from them, a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, which is our financial reports at the end of the year that we get, and a third one, which is their Popular Annual Financial Reporting Award. So 3 very significant awards from the association. And so for some context to that, there are over 90,000 units of local government in the United States. Only 293 of those entities received this Triple Crown Award. It's incredible. So well done to the finance team. Thank you very much for 6 years of great support. And then to the city manager and our department heads, I just wanted to say, I know it always seems like we're budgeting, forever budgeting. But you know, your service level has been extraordinary. And as a result of your budgeting, the city has one of the lowest property tax rates of any community in Northeast Illinois. That's incredible. And it's due to the careful budgeting and financial management of the department heads. So I wanted to thank them for their high service level and their prudent financial management. And then to the committee members, thanks for the great diligence and oversight of the community's financial affairs. I think you can see the city's in the best financial condition in recent memory. It's in great shape. So thank you to all of you for your support over 6 years of the term of my term as chairman. So thank you very much. And with that,
Before you adjourn, I wanted to make a comment. I did this job that Jed's been doing for the prior 6 years. And during my term as mayor, I can honestly say I never had to worry about anything in the financial aspect of the city not being properly attended to by our finance committee chair. And he's being a little modest. He was one of, I think, 2 aldermen at the time who really worked hand in hand with Elizabeth Holub to come up with a truly revolutionary approach to managing our police and fire pension plans. And that has now become a model in the state. Elizabeth is now sitting on the statewide fire pension board that has been commissioned basically after the consolidation of the 600 police and fire plans into something that looks a lot more like the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, which will, I think, provide a great deal more security, financial security to those plans than existed before. And a lot of that was due to Jed's and Tim Newman, I'll give him credit too, creative thinking. And it was mentioned, Jed mentioned before, that in our most recent Moody's reaffirmation of our AAA bond rating, they specifically called out the confidence that plan gives them in underwriting our bond issuance. So, so thank you very much for being incredibly able, much more able than I was in the finance chair role, and you've allowed me to sleep at night for the last 4 years.
Well, thanks. So we come to the adjournment. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. We'll reconvene at 7:15 we'll hit our 45-minute time frame.
Thank you, Jed.